Good afternoon. How many minutes do we have to start? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Am I supposed to stop that?
Did you present us?
Yes.
Yeah, let me do that.
Can I give you some? Oh, somebody sent me a slide again. Is it possible?
Is that on the flash?
WhatsApp.
Can you share it on the
On the what?
email?
And hey, is that email I was asking for yesterday? Yes, what's the email? See my own mama. I don't write now. I will see on top side. I can't even just the direct. I thought it's supposed to not really work.
Children theater.
But that's you do me like this.
Bank call it right?
Okay, yeah, at gmail.com.
At LSA.
At gmail.com.
At LSA at gmail.com.
I'm from 2023.
Okay.
because I suffer past, not because I pray and fast. No be your show, no be that. I'm watching. Daily Osinachi, Namukwa Osinachi, one Osinachi, I'm watching. Daily Osinachi, Mama Osinachi.
That's not finished on my data. Oh, that's that cool man. Did I was like, I just like to try.
Not because I suffer past, not because I pray and fast. No be your show, no be that. I'm watching. Daily Osinachi, Namukwa Osinachi, one Osinachi, I'm watching. Daily Osinachi, Mama Osinachi.
I'm not seeing most of the like judging yourself. It's audio.
How many of them? Focus.
Like someone joined with your link.
Yes, I sense.
I think the person should join with the general link. You shared your panelist link with the person.
Yes.
I think there's a general link for participants. I don't know, should be there.
I shared before that.
Oh, let me just
Not lesson you to them.
This PowerPoint is not open. Don't listen. Okay, that's open now.
Yes.
I think it's fine.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Yinkoma Okore, and you're welcome to the part 2 of this panel titled Riding on the Shoulders of Giants, Critical Engagement with the Dramaturgy of Emerging Playwright 2. Yesterday, we had the first session where we had 2 presenters. So today, we'll be having 3 presenters presenting to us today. The first person on our list is Madam Christian Abako. She's already here. The second person is online, Esiwogene Ochuko. She'll be presenting virtually, and the last person is Madam Rashid. Please, can you come to your seat here? So to the panelists, please, you have just 15 minutes to make your presentation. 15 minutes. I guess it's enough time for me to say whatever you want to say. So we'll be starting with the first presenter in person of Christiana Babo from Cairo University, Fellow. She'll be presenting on the topic titled Disrupting the Status Quo, Philosophical Subversions in the Works of Selected Emerging Playwrights. So, Ms. Christiana Bako, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bako Christiana Musa, as introduced, and I'm presenting the paper titled Disrupting the Status Quo, Philosophical Subversions in the Work of Selected Emerging Playwrights. Now, as a way of introduction, we'll give a clarification or definition of what philosophy is and what subversion is. And we can't talk about philosophy without rooting in African culture. And African philosophy itself is rooted in the distinctive beliefs and convictions that reflect the subjective perception of life held by Africans. Now, it is believed in the field of philosophy that every culture contributes to the universal philosophical views through their experiences. And then consequently, this is drawn from both individual and collective experiences. In this regard, research studies have proven that individual playwrights infuse their personal ideologies, philosophies, even personal experiences into their work. And the emergence of new voices into the field expand on the various types of ideologies and philosophies that are being reflected in this dramatic works. Now, the emergence of new voices is better seen as an extension of the existing dominant voices that exist in the dramatic landscape, or a kind of challenge of ideas that override existing approaches or the norm in the dramatic landscape. Now, for subversions, right? Subversions in playwriting have to do with challenging traditional narratives and exploring new ways of telling stories, either through structures, themes, ideologies, and philosophies as mentioned earlier. Now, this paper argues that even though the emergence of new voices in playwriting, equal the themes of older playwrights, older in quotes writers. They are redefining traditional narratives in their dramatic works, which is in line with the current social realities. Now, like I said earlier, it is a deliberate creation from certain playwriting norms, that's subversion, and the plays that are picked to analyze in this particular presentation are Yenchi by Mkaya Banjo and Into the World by Onyeka Onyebuka. The theoretical anchor for this paper is New Humanism, which lays emphasis on individual human experiences, perception, and the pursuit of what knowledge, which shapes social relations and cultural norms. It also promotes diverse voices and stories to experiences that are being shared, thereby enriching the dramatic landscape. And some of the tenets of this particular theory, New Humanism, is respect for human dignity, irrespective of the person's background, the person's culture, and circumstances surrounding the person's existence. And then also have individual freedom and autonomy, and then emphasis on human experiences, critique of dominant ideologies which are seen to be oppressive, and then promote social justice and inequality. This study adopts content analysis to analyze the text in relation to the focus of the research, and then the place mentioned Onyeka Onyebuka's Into the World and Bukaya's Banjo's Yenchi. Well, to begin with, in our analysis, I looked at the title of the plays themselves. When we're talking about disrupting the status quo, what is existing, what new discourse or narrative are we bringing, what alternative voice are we bringing to the discussion? The title of the plays, the first one, Yenchi has to do with freedom. It has to do with freedom, breaking free from social oppressive structures that hinders individual growth and progress, most especially that of women, for example, as it is in the setting of the play in northern Nigeria. And then Onyekuba's Into the World. When you talk about Into the World, it also have to do with what kind of breaking forth, going outside, like where women are being oppressed, subjected, confined to the homes, and not allowed to go out and then contribute to building, nation building, molding the society, and contributing their total to social, national development. But in building, Into the World, it captures the life of young school girls. We see them as young school girls before they transition into womanhood, and then we saw how they decided to live their individual lives in their families, and then as it relates to their profession. Now, for Yenchi captures the story of a young girl called Hawa, who is passionate about education, going to school to be someone who will contribute to her community positively. Because from the text, she has this desire to either go to school and become a health worker where she can contribute to the welfare of women health-wise in her community, or become a teacher and then mentor other girls in the community that are also growing. And then at a very young age, she was married up to Ibrahim, who is educated, has gone to the city to marry, but then that desire to go to school and be someone, to achieve her own dream of becoming a respectable person, member of the society, was faced with a lot of challenges, especially from her community and her immediate family member, that's her grandmother, who stands up as a parent. And then Ibrahim, who is her husband, is someone who gives her support Contrary to the existing narratives of men suppressing women, not allowing women to go to school, he is someone who is supportive of her wife. He wants her to pursue her dream and then her goal of going to school and being educated. But Gogo, who I see as a conservative in this particular play, is is the one who champions this patriarchal narrative of confining women to the home, and it's mostly seen this particular type of happening in the society is mostly promoted by older women who themselves are victims of this particular system. But then in the, which plays out in this particular play, where in this particular play, where her wife tried to see that her grandmother reasons with her on the need for her to be educated, but she feels no culture and religion has already, determined how a woman should live her life, so she doesn't have to go to school. And then she was even the one telling her that, the elders have already spoken. The elders here, promote the men in the family, because they're the ones who decide what happens, how when you get married, how you live your life, how to take care of your husband, the things that you should do. And then religion also contributes in shaping or dictating how a woman lives her life in the Hausa Islamic society. Now, for the second play, where we have Tessie, we see her from being a school girl who is not really passionate about education. She has a friend who really very intelligent. She wants to not just attend the secondary school, but in university and even go for a PhD in the future. But for Tessie, she's someone who believes, she's beautiful, and because society is changing, there are a lot of things that a woman can do to, secure a very, very comfortable life for herself that going to school. And one of the things that she can do is to marry a rich man. She can just get a rich man that will take care of her needs, and she doesn't have to go to school. And she prides herself in her beauty, always smoking money that the other girl is not beautiful. And because she's not beautiful, she has to wake up for her lack of beauty with hard work. Because without that, there's no any man that will come and marry her and give her the kind of lavish lifestyle that she will. And then we see them transition from young girls to women, where Tessie, even after getting married, she was successful. She got a rich man, a rich businessman, who himself was uneducated, but is rich. He has money to give her the kind of lifestyle she wants. And then, as a married woman, yes, she has kids, but then she refuses to take up the role of this traditional woman in her home. But after she made her husband to get a maid for her, and then the maid takes care of the husband, the children, she cooks the food, while she only attends parties, wear expensive clothes, go out to influence other women whose husband cannot have rich as her own husband is. And then we see how that caused a problem between her and the husband, because at some point she just the madam of the household. The maid takes care of the children and the home. She said she just wants to be a housewife. She doesn't want to stress herself. She's beautiful. She doesn't have to do all these things. She has a man already that is rich, so she doesn't have to make extra effort to secure her own. And this eventually led to it caused a fight between her and the husband, because at some point the husband kept complaining that she doesn't do anything as a wife, as a mother. In the play, the playwright also talk about or question this concept or idea of mother. Who is a mother? Is a mother a person who gives birth to a child, or a person who nurtures and take care of the child? Because while she is biologically the mother to her kids, she doesn't perform her role as a mother or through taking care of them, looking for them, or spending time with them. The maid that does that. But for her, she only concentrates on taking time, going out with her friends, attending parties, wearing expensive clothes, which she always buys on credit, and that costs a lot of issues between her and the husband because the one financing her extravagant lifestyle.
We have 5 more minutes. Yes.
Okay, the first point that I discussed has to do with the two plays selected offering alternative perspectives and interpretation to the concept of individuality and belief in personal freedom, which, they show it because for Hawa, she's determined to go to school to acquire education irrespective of the cost. She's willing to take, she's willing to face the consequences of her actions. And then for 30, her own, is the belief in personal freedom, individuality. She took it to another level by only focusing on herself without looking at the impact of her choices, of her decisions, on her family, and on her children. And then the second point there is the fact that there's also the issue of subversion of traditional power. Well, when it comes to the relation to gender relations, because it touches on power structures within the society, by subverting traditional power dynamics as portrayed in the play, where, for example, in Yenchi, Hawa, despite the strong opposition of her grandmother, Mother Jia, insists on doing whatever it is. And for me, when I read there's even the name Mother Jia, it's symbolic, it's not another meaning, because when you say Mother Jia, it's someone who preserve a particular cultural practice. Mother Jia, like a custodian of culture. These are women who are expected to pass down, culture, what they've learned to the other young girls that are coming up. Why Hawa will not have it? And then that's for the subversion of traditional power. And then we also see that happening in the play Into the World, where Tessie's father, is always telling her to kneel down and beg her husband. She shouldn't come back home because she's having problems with her husband, irrespective of what the husband has done to her. She has to go back and beg the husband because the woman who is God back to her father's house is not someone who is seen as a respectable person in the society. A woman is only respected if she's still in her husband's house. And then there's also the exploration of power structures, where it explores the changing narratives on social norms and gender relations, whereby men play significant roles in women empowerment, as it is seen in the case of Ibrahim, Hawa's husband in Yenchi, and Mr. Timothy in Into the World, who always encourages his wife to do something. They always want the women to be empowered. They push for women empowerment. But in the case of Tess, she's the one who is not interested. She feels she doesn't have to do anything because her husband has money, so she's comfortable the way she is. But for Hawa, she finds herself in a very, very difficult or different situation from that of Tess Teresa. And then the place also explores the effect of it also explores the need for mentorship, and then support for each other, most especially as it relates to women. That there is a need for women, older women, to mentor, the young ones that are growing up, and then women themselves should support themselves because there are literatures on women being their own enemies, women standing against the progress of other women, women not loving themselves. But in the play Into the World, we see a deviation from that, where Teresa's friends were there to, at the end of the day, when she felt that her life, as what she has planned for herself, has been shattered by her irresponsible lifestyle, they really came to support her and encourage her, how to just pick the broken pieces and then get herself back again. And at the end of the day, she was able to reconcile with her husband and then try to see how she can fix her home and correct the mistake that she has done earlier. So now, in conclusion, By analyzing
landscape of society. Drama reflects social crises such as human trafficking, which remains a critical global challenge with devastating consequences on individuals and societies. So according to the United Nations 2025, human trafficking is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of people through force, fraud, or deception to exploit them for profit. Men, women, and children of all ages and from all backgrounds can become victims of this crime, which occurs in every region of the world. The traffickers often use violence or fraudulent agencies and fake promises of education and job opportunities to trick and coerce their victims. And this menace has received attention from the works of emerging playwrights like Chukwuma Anyanwu's Traffickers, which provides a compelling narrative that interrogates this endemic social ill, exposing the socio-economic and political factors that fuel its persistence. As such, this paper examines traffickers through the lens of Marxist literary theory, exploring how the play critiques class struggle, economic exploitation, and systematic oppression that sustain human trafficking. Now let's look at an overview of human trafficking itself. Because the purpose of human trafficking is exploitation, which can include the prostitution of others, forced labor, slavery, or servitude, and removal of organs and drug peddling and the likes of it. Human trafficking is acknowledged to be a global human rights violation. Trafficking represents a denial, according to Bejanowski and Stewart in 2007, trafficking represents a denial of a person's rights to liberty, integrity, security, and freedom of movement. And human trafficking affects millions of people worldwide each year. According to the International Labour Organization, it estimates that there are 40 million people in forced labor or marriages, drug peddling, sexual exploitation, many of whom are also trafficking victims. And perpetrators are frequently family members, acquaintances, or persons considered as dates, with only 8% of perpetrators identified as strangers. Perpetrators often exploit vulnerable individuals. That's according to Reid and Joan 2018. Now, for the theoretical framework, the paper is premised on the Marxist literary theory drawn from the ideologies of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. It focuses on the economic and social structures that perpetuate oppression and exploitation, making it an ideal framework for understanding how traffickers, as the text itself, how it portrays the relationship between power, wealth, and human suffering. So in Anyanwu's Traffickers critiques the role of political elites and institutions in enabling human trafficking. The play portrays corruption within governance structures, creating an environment where trafficking thrives. Marxist theory argues that the state serves the interests of the ruling class, maintaining systems of oppression rather than protecting the working class. And excerpt from the text shows where a character named Ultimate Madam, when she was quoted at the later end of the text, that I demand to see the DPO without further delay. You are playing with your jobs by detaining me here. It shows that she had been working with the DPO to perpetrate her crimes, and she was trying to get out of detention when she was caught. And furthermore, traffickers present a society fractured by deep class inequalities, where the rich and politically connected exploit the impoverished and desperate. The traffickers, who represent a powerful class, manipulates the economic vulnerabilities of the working class youth, particularly the unemployed, to further their selfish agenda. And an excerpt is also it's reflected in the text through the dialogue between TJ and Caro, where TJ said, "We have been devouring the pages of newspapers for the flimsiest sign of job opportunities without luck. Now the opportunity is here. You are complaining." So this shows that these traffickers, the traffickers dwell on vulnerable class youths, especially the unemployed. They exploit them by providing job opportunities for them, and by so doing, trafficking them to various places for crimes. Then let's look at the plot summary of Chukwumanyanwu's traffickers. So traffickers interrogate the endemic social ill of human trafficking, which has unfortunately become rampant in our society. And people of nefarious and evil-minded characters like Boss, Madame Legit, and Ultimate Madame key into the porous and endangered economic situation of unemployment, insecurity, among other social ills, to lure young ones into all manners of atrocious social misbehavior, such as prostitution and drug trafficking, in the bid to get a job and earn a living. And also in traffickers, Anyanwu has once again indicted the political office holders and the empty and hopeless leadership to which our society is prone. Now, looking at human trafficking narratives in Chukwumanyanwu's traffickers, first of all, the text presents a society fractured by deep class inequalities, where the rich and politically connected exploit the impoverished and desperate. The traffickers, who represent a powerful class, manipulate the economic vulnerabilities of the working class youth, particularly the unemployed, to further the selfish agenda. This is reflected in the lines of that's the dialogue of Ultimate Madame, who is one of the traffickers. That's a better opportunity I bring for me to now. My clients across the globe need able-bodied young men and women to fill various positions as drivers, house helps, computer operators, attendants, personal assistants, and so on. And also, the play reveals that the luring of young people into prostitution and drug trafficking is not merely a result of individual moral failure, but a systematic condition rooted in exploitation, where survival becomes a trade-off for dignity and freedom. And this reflects in the lines of Mr. God Knows, where he stated that I think we should consult Ultimate Madame. She has the magic wand. It is not even her fault that after 4 to 5 years in the university, with 1 year top up called youth service, children remain children because it is employment that converts responsible youth to responsible adults. He said this responding to his son, who wanted to apply for the job opportunity that Ultimate Madame brought, by telling him that yes, this is what Ultimate Madame does. She's a trafficker because he knows about how this and how youths key to fall into her traps, and they end up becoming immoral or losing their sense of morality. Then Anyanwu also uses his characters and setting to highlight how corrupt leadership and the failed government system provide a fertile ground for trafficking. For trafficking network to thrive. And this reflects in the lines of Sam, where he said that it is impossible to have such a syndicate of criminals if the military or the police are not involved. It's a big business. Meaning that the likes of Madame Legit and Madame Legitimates, they don't work alone. It's a syndicate. They work with the security personnel also, as well as top government officials in perpetrating their crimes. Then also it portrays how the pursuit for quick material success is internalized by the youth, making them easy prey for traffickers promising wealth abroad. This is reflected in the lines of Joy, who states that Boss, who is one of the traffickers, that's a retired army general, that he brought some cocaine for me to sip. Then he said he travels with lots of it for personal use and to be accompanying him in his trip if I want to make quick money. And also the victims in traffickers who believe they are seeing a better opportunity for themselves, unaware that they are entering systems of deeper exploitation. And An excerpt from the play text is reflected, it's where Belief, one of the characters, said that ultimate madam told us she had brought opportunities. Tomorrow by 9 o'clock, I'll be going to their office for Instagram. Nobody is going to stop me. Then the play exposes how this illusion of social mobility keeps individuals trapped in a cycle of exploitation. Rather than addressing the root causes of poverty and inequality, traffickers and corrupt officials perpetuate the belief that escape lies in migration, ultimately leading victims to a deeper state of oppression. This is also tied to the Japa syndrome, whereby some of these victims of traffickers, they are not fascinated by the job opportunities that are given them abroad, but the fact that they are trying to escape poverty, they're trying to travel to other countries for greener pastures. And this reflects in the dialogue between Mindset and Sam. Mindset said that, but the type of job we have, don't you think you are bigger than it? Sam responded with, bigger than it? Don't make me laugh. Nothing absolutely is bigger than leaving this country. So his purpose is to leave this country for greener pastures. Then lastly, by exposing these harsh realities, traffickers call for a critical awakening among the masses. The play can be seen as an instrument of class consciousness, urging audiences, particularly the oppressed, to recognize the roots of their suffering, not as personal failure, but as a structural problem. So this is also seen in the lines of Karu that, oh my God, all because we need a job, they capitalize on our helplessness. This is despicable. And in conclusion, Chukwumanyamu's traffickers serve as a critic of economic and political systems that facilitate human trafficking. The play highlights the exploitative structures that allow trafficking to persist, from class struggle and economic oppression to political corruption and ideological manipulation. In the play, Anyanwu underscores the need for systematic change, advocating for social justice and a more equitable society where individuals are not forced into dehumanizing conditions due to economic desperation. By exposing the capitalist and class-based forces that sustain trafficking, traffickers not only tells a gripping story, but also serves, that text traffickers not only tells a gripping story, but also serves as a call to action against one of society's most pressing social ills. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Rashid, for keeping to time. We appreciate you for that. Please, do we have the 10th presenter ready? Ms. Esiwo, can you hear me? Ms. Esiwo, I hope she's not muted.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. You have, please, for the my participants, please note your questions, okay? When it's time for the question and answer, I'll give you the opportunity to do that. So, Ms. Esiwo, you have just 15 minutes to make your presentation. She'll be presenting on the topic titled, The Playwright as a Director, an analysis of Deji Kayode's directorial style in Death and the Love's Fury. Ms. Esiwo, 15 minutes. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you, Joy. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm presenting on Deji Kayode's play, Death and the Love's Fury. And I'm looking at the directorial styles that are inherent in the play as presented by Deji Kayode. That is my presentation for this afternoon, based on our panel theme, which is looking at the dramaturgy of emergent playwrights. And I see Deji Kayode as one of those emergent playwrights. And the introduction, I'm going to talk just a brief on a playwright and playwriting, the director and what he does, which is directing. Then looking at Deji Kayode while I'll give a little synopsis before explaining that, and then we draw a conclusion. Right, as a way of introduction, Deji Kayode's master artist. A lot of scholars have said that, and that I also stand with. It cannot be overemphasized that the playwright is the master artist in the theater. Why do I say that? Every other artist in the theater ride on the wings of the playwright. They draw, they rebuild, or they build whatever their creativity is from the ingenuity of the playwright. We can, I have a lot of scholars that have asserted that, and I am aligning with them in accepting that. And we also see that there are other people that have also seen the playwright as a director of his own. And so imagine playwrights have assumed this the play, and they have written plays based on this assumption or based on this assertion. Then we also look at in crafts the script that is used for either a stage production or for a screen production. He's the one that sits down and from his imagination imagination is able to create something that everyone can read, and probably before the director or any other artist picks it to want to build on it. Now, what the playwright in playwriting, there are a lot of things to be considered. A playwright must be a playwright must, you envision the play while it is going to be staged, how it is going to be staged. You envision all of those before you consider, is this play stageable or not stageable? So the emergent playwrights, from when they are crafting their work, they're already considering the stageability of the play that they are writing. And in that way, they are reducing the task of play director, who in some cases will want to pick a script and remove some lines that are important, cut off some lines that are important while in the process of directing. Or the playwright, while writing, is already doing some of these things. That is the playwright. And playwriting, there are a lot of things. You consider the theme, you consider if it's going to be stageable, you consider the characters, how you build them. Are they real? Are they fictional stories? But then even in writing all of those, the playwright draws from the society, either from his personal experiences or from the experiences of others. Stage by interpreting the work of the playwright. He does the interpretation, bring in some ideas or remove some. That is the director. And it is the process of the stage, adding all the other paraphernalia that are needed for a production to be complete before showing it to the world. That is the audience. Now, the play, Death and the Lost Fury, is a play that was or about to be published. It's a play written by Deji Kayode, and in this play, it's a play. The daughter of Adebangbe, who is so beloved by the father, and because of that, she's a warrior, she's everything to the society, to the community, and she wanted to find out the cause of the father's death, or who murdered the father. While she was out for war, the father was murdered, and on her return, instead of the father welcoming her after the victory she won for the kingdom, she met sad faces, and she was informed the father has been murdered. She, in a bid to seek for the murderer of her father, she made a vow that she was going to make sure she kills the person, whoever the person is. She had a lover, Morotondo. And in the process of, Morotondo was scared. Now that you are a regent, when she came back, she was made a regent. Now that you are a regent, are you sure you will not use your powers on me? And in that process, she took an oath with the weapon of Ogun, a metal knife, that if she ever uses her powers on Morotondo, then she will not conceive. She will do it at the expense of her womb, not conceiving a child. And the people, at the end of the play, Morotondo was discovered to be the murderer of her father. And because of that, she took it upon herself, punished Morotondo, who was her lover, and then exited the throne of her father. That is a little synopsis of the play. We're looking at Death and the Love's Fury. Now, in this play, there are issues of justice. She's sacrificing her leadership position for the common good of the entire kingdom, is one of the things that is inherent in the play. As a way of the lessons that are taught in the play, there are some excerpts which I am looking at in relation to the directorial styles. Now, basically, one of the key directorial styles I have seen in that Deji Kayode has used is eclecticism, which is a fusion of different styles. In the play, there are a lot of music, there is a lot of dances, there are everyday language, which of the postmodern era, which is not the same way as a conventional play would be written. The kind of language that is used in the play by Deji Kayode. Now, first of all, I'm looking at the opening stage directions. One of the things I've seen with emergent playwrights is that they try to do the work of a director, put in a lot of ideas that will make the staging of the play, that will make it easy for the director, even in the language. Now, in Deji Kayode's Death and the Love's Fury, we see that right from the beginning, there is an introduction of a narrator. That will take us to the Brechtian directorial style. We talk about alienation. We talk about, there are other issues, other in the play. For instance, we have the technique of freezing and unfreezing on stage so that the narrator can speak. Then in the play too, the narrator changed his costumes on stage just to convince the people, to alienate himself from the world of the play, to tell the people that he's just an actor, which is what we know as, which these are not issues that have to do with playwriting. Ideally, they are directorial issues. But Deji Kayode has successfully put all of these things together into his play to make it easy for the director who is supposed to direct his play. These ones are not, all of these issues that deal with directing are not part of playwriting in the real sense of it. But because emergent playwrights are assuming this role, which is actually their role, the master artist of the theater, which is like a mini god. According to Azumo, he said the playwright is a god, is a mini god. The ones that craft from the very beginning. So I see Deji Kayode playing that role of a director in writing his play. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Eskil, for your presentation. Now it's time for question and answers. Please, our online participants, if you have a question, you can just raise your hand. We'll come back to you. So do we have questions for the presenters? One. HOD ask question. One. HOD two. So we have two questions from the house. Sir, let's have it. Thank you. No, yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Madam Chairman. Let me start from the last presenter. We need to avoid questions these days because of what I saw on LSA. Sometimes questions seem to be like harassment, academic harassment on presenters. And sometimes if they are new to conferences, you tend to set them away. So I will try to avoid making it a question. Rather, let me call your attention to some issues you might need to clarify, or I help the paper to be taken to higher level. there is something I want to understand. If you are there, the last presenter.
Mr. Siwo, can you hear him?
Yes, I am.
All right. So I don't know, looking at the main variables in your topic, I understand this is an experimental play. The playwright knows and experimented on stage. Now, I wouldn't know the issues you are looking at, whether as a production report, which is quite acceptable. When people stage plays, you can write on what has been staged, right? You can write on the play and it has been staged. You can also make a comparative study between what we have, textual analysis, and the play put on stage. So that's, I don't want to ask you questions, but you might need to respond if you like. I'm not bombarding you, but I just want to highlight that area. Is that what this paper is trying to do? Now, at a point, from your slide, I saw issues like talking about the person of the playwright who is the author, director kind of thing, which is needed, though you didn't expatiate on it so much. But to say that Deji Kayode is a PhD director. A PhD director. You didn't write much on him and on his person, but I saw a line there. He's a PhD director. You should be able to differentiate his qualifications, his rank, and his person. Probably you are right to say that his upbringing, his academic status might have informed the themes in his play, which might lead you to an aspect of analyzing the content of his play. So you didn't really demarcate the person, the playwright himself, and his work. Now, coming to his directorial techniques, I'm sorry, I don't want to bombard you, but you have those elements. But my little challenge is how you distinct them out, how you organize them. Talking about his directorial techniques, most director playwrights, or no playwright will ask you to, or insist on you use a particular directorial techniques or style or whatever. He directed the play, you analyze it based on what you saw. I'm sure you watched that play on stage, right? Good. So you can analyze what he directed, what you saw on stage, because Kayode can decide to put up this play again using other directors. There might not be alienation effect again. There might not be total African theater elements. There might not be greater effects, their concept coming into it. So for this particular edition that he directed and produced, though he's a playwright, justify why he used them. You need to ask him, because you are studying what he did on stage and his textual content. So those things were not really separated. So you need to separate the directorial concept he used, because I'm a director anyway. Another person can use another concept to write that play on stage. Since it's a premium production, you can now, suggest that it pass. Remember, it is not your work to validate whether the play was 80% or 100%, but you are showing us what happened. That's why I made the first comment saying you can incorporate this in your topic, because from the topic, I couldn't decipher whether you are doing what I'm just expressing now, which is what this paper seems to be looking at. Thank you so much, if I understood. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me, you might need to respond later, but I'm not attacking you, I'm not asking questions. Yeah.
Of course, I know.
Okay, my regards to Kayode, is a friend anyway. For our uncles and auntie here that presented, this is not a problem, but as we were presenting, my mind was, going somewhere else. And I'm just saying, if I mention the issue of morality in both of your presentations, okay, let me start from you, madam. They say that ignorance is not an excuse before the law. So looking at, I didn't see against your topic, but I got a chunk of your presentation. Looking at the woman who is rich, who is outsourcing everything in the house chores to the housemaid, and living large, living a yogi life. Is it a matter of choice? Can somebody in real life analyze that situation without bringing the strand of morality? Because some people are rich, some women are rich, but there are house chores they cannot outsource. They cannot outsource somebody serving their husband. It's a matter of choice. So the theme of morality, can we use it to interrogate both characters, the people that she is outsourcing this thing, and the effect it's having? Because morality becomes what is even beyond law and beyond the person's characterization now. Because it's a societal problem that this play you are using is trying to capture. So that's where my morality idea is coming from. And from the issue of trafficking, unemployment as exemplified in that play, because it was well presented. Again, somebody will say, are you the only person unemployed? So since you are doing, the presentation looks like a critical analysis. So another angle of it, reason I'm looking at it from the morality aspect of it. Are you the only person that is not employed? Are you the only graduate that is roaming around the street? Then ignorance again, if you are found into trouble, ignorance again is not an excuse before the law. So maybe that would be a sub issue you can create to make further analysis concerning the bill. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Banjo, do you have anything for?
I really want to ask the choice of, definitely I know of a play, but the second one is I really did not get your narration or your summary of it. And so I'm asking why the choice of both plays, one. Two, are there tropes, insights to both of them? And that will kind of will give clarity to why you have chosen those fields. That is one. So I am going to ask again if you could provide insight as to I'm trying to see the word to use it. The role of women, because I know that in the other play that you took the world, right? Into the world. Apart from the main character, there are other female characters, right? And I know that for the other plays, apart from the main character, there are other characters. And so what do these other characters, particularly female, because you are looking at your concern is on these two major characters. So what do they represent? The other female characters. What do they represent? Do they represent the same thing? Let us see the similarities in the tropes of the main characters as well as the other female characters that surround them. For the other presenter, I know that this topic is a topical one, and in fact, some people will say it's a menace, and some people will say it's a means to an end for them. And so, for you doing a critical study, if I see it as that, or if you see it as that, what is your take? What is your position? We know that critical studies are expected to be devoid of emotions, but we know that there has to be positions of whoever is, doing a critique of any work. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Banjo. Online presenters, do we have anyone? So our online presenters, do you have any question for the panelists? I can see Salahuddin Habib Adebayo. Mr. Salahuddin, can you hear me? Dr. Lai Fatima, can you hear me? All right.
Most likely.
They may have something for the panelists later. So please, can you respond to your questions starting from the first presenter?
Thanks so much for the comments, your observations. It's important to see how the world from better. But for the basement, I don't believe in morality, going to morality, something you
If you want to respond, simply, I just want to ask something that you might look at. This is a beautiful paper you're reading.
Yes, concerning the issue of morality in the play, we look at the character of Tess and how she is alive. Well, when we look at it, even at culture, there are expectations, societal expectations from the woman, how she relates to her husband, how she takes care of the home, and then how she also relates with the immediate environment. For Teresa, she sees it as an expression of her own freedom as a person. You know, not being, she doesn't want to slap against a man. And what we look at that has been narrated, most times the dramatic days, movies where women are being projected as being subservient to men. And then she now, you know, tries to deviate from that. She doesn't want to conform to that particular type of lifestyle. That is why she feels she doesn't even have to. If I will marry a man and then give birth to children, they will bear his name, then he should also be able to take care of me. I don't have to work because being a mother covers that for me. That's it for her. And at the end of the day, she suffered the consequences of her action and she betrays her steps, trying to see how she can be a good wife and then a good mother to her children. Even though that cost her because it makes the husband at some point where they had an issue, he married her mate. But at the end of the day, she had to resort to, you know, accepting her mate as the second wife. And the excuse the husband gave was because, yes, she is the wife, but she doesn't perform the role or function of the wife. And then after the fight, she was still expecting, even knowing that she was wrong, she was expecting her husband to be enough to beg her. But then he stood his ground and said, good. Until she realized her mistake, she went back to her husband at her father's house and she stayed for 3 years, waiting for the husband to call her back until, you know, they reconciled between she and the husband, and then she had to come and stay with her maid, who was still taking care of the husband and the children, even in her absence. You know, but then that was where, for example, when I was presenting, we also questioned the issue of mother, who is the mother? Because the husband told her, you're not even a mother because you don't even take care of the children, you don't do anything, you let everything to be made. I don't know if that and then for the other play, that's for one play. For the other play, when we talk about the question of morality, sometimes, like I said, it's rooted in culture, religion, and what have you, because the character of Hawa, when we see Hawa is someone who is determined, you know, she wants to be educated. That is what she wants. And then there are several obstacles standing in her way, one of which is what tradition and religion. And it is being championed by her grandmother, who is now seen as the traditional woman, the woman who tries to see that, you know, we conform to the set boundaries, the boundaries that were set, that have been set by culture for the woman. The woman is supposed to be in the house. She should not be seen, she should not be heard. Your sole responsibility ends in the house, serving your husband, your family, and your children. But Hawa wants something different. And like I said in my presentation, she's determined And then there is the consequences. No matter what you take, she really wants to get educated. And we even see where the grandmother was threatening her that she and the husband, who is even supporting her, will be flogged publicly. So what it means to be flogged in public, sending a warning to others who might not want to do what she's doing. If there are other girls that are not having this ambition because of the public flogging, everybody will want to, they might give up on that particular trade. So that is it. For like I said, the other play, Yenchi, education itself, it's seen as something that is being acquired by people who are immoral. That's in the play. People who are going to school. When you go to school, you'll be exposed and then you become immoral because there are certain practices, traditional practices that you don't want to go back to. You start protesting like against all these practices because they are hindering. And then for the second question by Dr. Banjo, I think she asked about the choice of place. I think one of the things that informed the choice of place has to do with dating, the time of publication. Because we're looking at plays published between 2019 to date, right?
Okay, when we talk about emerging playwrights, the theme talks about amplifying the voices of emerging playwrights. Okay, and I gave a particular year from 2019 to 2024. And when we talk about emerging playwrights, we should look at three things. Number one, innovative storytelling. I believe that the date should not actually be the reason for you to pick that particular play. Okay? Innovative storytelling, voices, diverse voices. What kind of voices have they captured? Or what kind of things, have they captured in those plays? So you look at the innovative storytelling, you look at the contemporary relevance. So these are the three criteria that I needed you to analyze those plays with. Looking at the language, looking at the style, and other elements of play writing. Okay? Because it's from there actually that we can actually talk about the continuities and discontinuities, because I can't hear anything about continuities and discontinuities in your works. So you can respond if you want.
Some of the things that you mentioned, I wanted to mention them in my response because I didn't get the opportunity to mention them in my presentation. That's why when I started, I was just asking for validation, and then you went ahead and you said everything. So because I remember in my presentation, I mentioned marginalized voices. For example, even Hawa is there, and then even the character of maid, for example, even in the character of the maid in Into the World, and even I talked about the title, even the title of the piece. They are like kind of resistant in nature, revolutionary. They want to break it. We want to break free. We want to break free, calling for emancipation, freedom.
1 minute. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Madam. Thank you. SEO, please, can you respond to your question? Mr. SEO,
All right, thank you. Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
You have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, thank you very much, sir, for those things you pointed out. You only took my mind to the other side of this issue. Actually, I am not looking at the playwright who also directs the play. I'm looking at the playwright from the point of writing, performing the roles of a director while writing the play. So another director, it's not going to be easy. It's like you are rewriting the play when you want to use another style to stage that play. That is.
Sorry, I see. Well, let me cut you, please. Sorry, I want to clarify something. Can you hear me, Mr. Siwo?
Yes.
All right, please. This particular play you're talking about, Has the playwright directed it on stage, or you just use the elements of playwriting to bring out the ideas or techniques of directing in the play? Have you watched the play directed on stage? That's my question.
Content analysis of the script itself, just the script, and identified what is in the script, the directorial styles that one can bring out from the script itself that will make it for anybody to pick the playwright becoming a director. That is the angle the paper is actually written on. Thank you.
Sorry, you have a follow-up question.
All other comments are taken.
Yes,
them.
there's a comment. There's a comment waiting for you, please. Yes, sir. You can just quickly say what you want to say.
Okay, very quickly. I hope you can hear me from there. I'm getting
yes, I can hear you.
From your explanation, I'm getting a bit confused. There is something called presentational style. I think I remember something like that. We have presentational and representational. The stage style, rather. We have presentational and representational. Our guys in dramatic literature will tell us better. But I think I experimented on that during my master's program. Now, I have not seen a copy of the play test. Did the playwright log the play? Log the play, either for stage or for screen, in the play test, published or unpublished? Because from your explanation, you are trying to say that you are not analyzing the play based on what is stated.
Yes.
Rather, there are editorial techniques or there are editorial implications, there are editorial expressions, permit me to borrow that word now, based on a script, right? Whether published or published. You know, some of these papers we have in conferences, when they are published, they become critical source books for researchers and students to lay their hands on and study. We might be having conflicting study here, where you are saying that a play test is having blockade. And maybe I'm finding it difficult to understand. I don't want to say it doesn't happen. There will be total dismissal of what is new you are bringing, but for now, I tend not to understand yet. Maybe a further explanation will clarify, because no playwright, maybe Toyota is trying to bring a new dog in the world of playwright and direction, where he imposes directorial style and concept and staging techniques on his play for everybody that will direct it. For example, somebody like Premier says, I'm sorry, man. Yeah. If you look at his plays, because he's a greater man, most of his plays, you can see it. But we have experimented his plays with Stanislavski and all that. There is no cut-out rule saying you must not cross the boundary. Even when you see the elements within his play, even when you know his Marxism, communism, and all that, what he believes about them. But no playwright imposes directorial techniques or style or staging techniques in his play test. So maybe I'm going to understand. I'm sorry if I took your time.
Okay, Mr. Siwo, do you have anything to say?
Okay, I'm not going to use the word imposition, because I just said there are some elements of directorial styles already in it. So a director can actually pick and do it that way. Another person can decide to deviate from. You are recreating that play, not the original play itself. That's the way I see it. And that's the angle this paper is actually written from, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from Mr. Rashid.
Okay, I think this one is a comment, but I will respond before I speak to Obanjo. Yes, concerning the issue of morality in relation to unemployment. Yes, just like you said, that are they the only ones who are unemployed? Yes, among the victims of trafficking, there are those of them who are ignorant. I remember at the interview stage, they will sample, they ask them to strip to get them their body sampled. At that stage, the likes of Friday and his sister, they left the place angrily that why would they ask us to sample? I don't want to go vulgar, sample our bodies. You understand? But the likes of Blackie, Cooley, and Afro, they stayed back. In fact, Blackie was made to serve as a lap dog. They'll go to the clubs, and they travel abroad, go to the clubs. They'll start acting like all these dancing bears and blacks for women who use them for entertainment and sexual purposes. And they were proud of it that yes, because they want to feed dirty, because they want to make it in life, they don't mind feeding or going dirty. They were aware of what they were going into. So that's ignorance on their own part. And I think, yes, I also look at that part actually, because I'm also analyzing it from that perspective. But I did not mention it. Then for Dr. Bando, yes, he said, what is my position? Actually, first of all, this paper was inspired by the fact that I actually have come across people who have experienced trafficking. So they've told me their stories and how it is not as if they were ignorant, how they failed to understand, how they were tricked into it. One traveled to Egypt, the other two I know of, they went to Libya. And they saw it and they came back. So, and they are not the only ones in it. And I think one, somebody I know very well, she died of a disease that had no cure. And they said it was spiritual, and because the agreement she made with because they normally have this voodoo practice, they make an agreement with whoever is trafficking them. So she flaunted the agreement and she ended up losing her life. So after picking this play, I discovered that yes, so many activists have shown concern in various ways to bring an end to this menace. But the likes of emerging playwrights like Anyanwu wrote this play as an eye-opener to arouse the critical consciousness of the youths, especially, and the vulnerable individuals. And also, I think at the tail end, though I did not mention it, he also gave us insights on how to bring the perpetrators to book. So for me, it's a play that is not just open the eyes of vulnerable people or the society, but a play that also contributes to its quota and bringing an end to this menace. Thank you very much.
All right, but there's something we must understand that in research is not based on hearsay. There must be verifiable data to actually solidify whatever you want to talk about. You said you've heard stories of people who have done that. Actually, it must be verifiable. Is this something we can verify? How do we verify it? Okay. Then you talked about many activists. Who are those activists?
Yeah, not playwrights actually. It was during my research. Then, sorry to add, it is not stories. These are people with first-hand experiences. We talk on the phone. There are times we do video call and they show me pictures. I don't have them, so media report and media.
We need those media reports.
Media report.
But I don't think, apart from media reports, I think we can't take away the fact that he has information. If I were you, I would have said interviews. I would have said interviews. You get what I'm trying to say? Or focus group discussion. Because this is the victims telling you their own stories firsthand, not media reporting now. And so this will even serve as a more credible source than you get it. So next time, I think it's just a question of language use. Get it? So they are valid. Yeah, your examples are valid.
All right. Okay.
You have somebody.
Yes, I think Dr. Ladoke, can you hear me? Can you speak?
When I'm here. Let me unmute him. No, please.
Second one.
No?
Yes, go. All right.
Second one. That's
The second one.
Olai Fatima.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Lagopi, can you hear me?
Everyone?
Good afternoon.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Yes.
You're free to ask your question.
All right, thank you. First, I will commend the presenters for quite the articulate presentation. I think that you spoke out with aptness, with focus, and I just have a few worries. My first worry is context of presentation. The period under this panel, I believe, is 2019 to 2025, and we are looking at emergent writing. And having listened to you, I do not see the unique proclivity, characteristic that you have brought on board in terms of writing from 2019 to, say, 2025, right? What are the new things? What is emerging in it? Because the themes you have mentioned, we have been discussing them from time immemorial. What is the new thing? This period is the what has it brought in terms of postmodernist individuation, in terms of AI and all sorts of things that we can see in playwriting? I think that it is important that we create a scope, for the presentations. Yes, we spoke about new humanism and so forth, but what are the genuine, what are the valid, what are the concrete instances in 2025 beyond a person making a playwriting debut? I think that we need to look at these issues. We need to critically. A few rhetorical questions. I have a few rhetorical questions for the last present, but it is something that you should think about. The first will be that, can one talk about directorial style by reading a play? Right? Because when you are reading a play, no matter the visualization you have as an actor or the experience you have as a director, what you are doing is textual analysis. When you begin to borrow the word of one of the people who made comment, impose, because he spoke about imposition. When you begin to allude that by reading the play, you can tell the directorial style, these are two different things. A play is a play on page, are different from a play on stage. When you talk about a performance, a play staged, then you speak about directing and we'll listen. But when you're looking at a play text, written word style, I think that, just like the other person mentioned, it is an imposition. There is no director on the page. Even if we have a character as director, that person is just a character on the page. Direct fundamentals of play directing. It is something that we should see concretely on stage. And sadly, you said you have never seen the play, but you are assuming that these are projections you have in terms of retelling, of narrativizing. But it is not directing. I think that point needs to be made, right? I think that point needs. Presentation should be made in context in terms of the thematic focus of the panel, and also this direct comment I made about ECO's presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Olagoke Fatimei. ECO, you may not need to respond to it, but you can just think about it, all right? All right. In the absence of any other question,
Sorry, sir.
no, we have just 4 minutes, I guess.
Yes.
We have just 4 minutes. Would you make your comments in 2 minutes?
In
1 minute, okay, thank you.
You mentioned part of it.
Okay.
It's about the utilization and categorization of this panel. I don't have problem. Even if someone wants to say it's only 2025, not that. You know, there are people who say, why should somebody say post or something? They didn't say post Shoika or post, so it raised a lot of dust. So for this one, we said 2020. It's like saying post-COVID. Yes, like I'm sure many scholars will have problems with you. But what I believe about practice and scholarship is that if you continue to practice and continue to study, one day it will stand. But we need to define it, like he said, major characteristic of what we are looking at. So if we don't define it, we discover that plays written in 1970 can as well fit into 2025.
Okay, in relation to the theme.
Yeah, in relation to the theme.
Okay.
The style.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so very much, everybody, for attending this panel. We are grateful to you. And to the presenters, I say thank you so very much. Yeah, thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.